6 figures and six-pack abs, the mark of a high-value man. Fellas, what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be reacting to a video that somebody who is quote-unquote expert in feminine energy on TikTok has made. And I want to break down why I think she's not really getting commitment from these guys that she's talking to, and really give you a breakdown of where I agree and where I disagree with her approach, because she does have a few valid points. And then there's a response video that she made after it because she got a lot of comments that weren't really agreeing with what she's saying. So let's get into the video and let's break it down.
Huge difference between high-earning men and high-value men. I've dated plenty of high-earning men. If you've watched one of my last videos, 9 of the 10 guys I've dated have been over 6-figure earners. That didn't make them high value. First
and foremost, I completely agree with what she said about high income not being high value. And let me give you a very obvious example to this. How many guys do you know that have a boatload of money that spend it on OnlyFans, they spend it on women who are not into them, and they spend it on bottle service? I have coached so many guys that came to me and they said, I have status, I have money, I am high value, and I cannot get women. That's completely incorrect. And the reason why these men fail with women is because they don't understand how to get women to pursue them. And this is something she talks about in this video that I do completely disagree with, that we'll get to in a second. I want to reiterate what she just said because this is very valid. A high income and high status man does not necessarily equal a high value man, because a high value man knows how to get and keep women that he's into and get them to pursue. So let's get back into the video.
From my 6 figures, 6-pack, and 6-foot guys video, I've dated 2 corporate executives, 2 third-generation family millionaires who were taking over the family company, 1 hedge fund manager, CPA, a real estate agent, and 2 entrepreneurs. 5 of them turned out to be trauma bonds, and that had everything to do with my lack of internal healing after my marriage and going straight into dating.
So what I do like here is she is completely taking accountability for the fact that fumbling with those men, or maybe mistakes that she's made in the past with those men, were because she was not healed, or she had like psychological trauma bonding issues around these guys. And she does readily admit that maybe she was attracting these guys, but she wasn't able to keep them because ultimately she wasn't in a place where she could commit. So again, respect to self-awareness.
High earning does not equate to high value. What makes a man high value is someone who understands that he holds space for your emotions. He is the structure and you are the flow. A high value man understands what to do and how to respond to you in a mature way, not an immature, threatening, I'm going to end this relationship or walk out kind of way. A high value man will make you feel safe emotionally and financially. They will provide the structure where which you can fully embody your feminine and fully express yourself.
So now here is where I start to disagree with where she's going with this video. The amount of mental gymnastics that start to creep in with videos like this and creators like this on TikTok is incredible, and let me explain why. A lot of times when women say he needs to make space for me, he needs to be that rock for me, he needs to be stable, I agree with that, but here's a big difference and a big caveat. When men are looking at the options that they have and they're being very objective about the women they're talking to, because a high value man has options, he is not going to pick a woman who's completely dramatic or stressing him out. Now, what I don't like about these videos is when they start to say that a strong man could handle me, or if he held enough space for me, if he was my rock, he would be able to weather these storms, these emotional storms, and these hangups that I have and these outbursts that I have. Ultimately justifying your unstable mood or unstable approach towards a relationship as feminine energy, or the women that say feminine energy is chaotic, they're just doing this because they don't want to take accountability for the fact that they were acting unstable, and if a man can't handle that feminine energy, that he's not strong enough to be with her. There's a quick caveat that I want to make with this as well. When people talk about feminine and masculine energy and high value men and high value women, what we need to understand is that feminine and masculine energy, they exist within all of us, right? There's different manifestations of how we actually bring that out into the world, but just because you're a man doesn't mean that you only have masculine energy, and just because you're a woman doesn't mean that you only have feminine energy. And what I see a lot in this space is people trying to teach women how to be more in their feminine, because ultimately a lot of women now are very masculinized just because of the way the economy works, the way the household is run, and really is a product of feminism, essentially.
High value man will invest in you because he knows not only does that allow you to fully open your flower, but that also he's going to reap the rewards of you being in your full femininity.
Okay, here's where it continues to go off on a tangent. When somebody says he's able to reap the rewards of her femininity, let me ask you an honest question. What does that actually mean? right? This is a catch-all phrase for somebody who does not want to take accountability, saying he wants to reap all of the benefits, the feminine energy that I have today. And what I would say is, how many women are actually in that state? How many women are actually in a state of embracing their feminine energy and actually portraying that in a relationship? Because the way that I see it, and she's going to get to this in a second where she talks about what people bring to the table, I really see this as a lack of accountability of bringing tangible things. Okay, so you're bringing feminine energy to the equation. What does that actually mean? Give me like a logical, tangible thing that actually means, because a man saying he brings masculine energy to the table, that's just not enough. There actually needs to be results or outcomes of bringing that energy to the table.
So if you challenge a man, he is going to chase that challenge that you present to him. So say he's not stepping into his full masculinity or into his full potential, and you challenge him, he will chase the standard that you're holding him to. And a high value man will not look for that outside of you. He will know that if he pours into you, you will continue to hold him to the standard of the highest possible version of himself, and he will only be able to access that through you, and so he will continue to chase you.
Here's what I cannot agree with this. So what she's essentially saying is that he will not look for something outside of her because he knows that it is all within her and he can get her to express that. So what that's essentially saying is it's completely the man's fault for not being in her feminine energy, and that it's a man's job to bring that out, and she has no accountability for actually incorporating that into the relationship. Here's the problem that I have with her logic. Ultimately, a man who is in his masculine energy, who is truly a high value man, that guy is not going to put up with a woman who's in her masculine energy. It's just that simple. He has options. He doesn't need a challenge. He doesn't need an issue, and he doesn't need to go out there and make a woman become feminine. Why would a man with a lot of options, with a lot to offer, who knows how to get women to pursue him, why would he pursue a woman or chase a woman, like she just said, to convert her into the type of woman that he wants her to be? It doesn't make any sense to me, because he's not going to do it, which tells me that she doesn't understand what it takes to keep a high value man around. And again, a lot of her videos are about stepping into her femininity and fixing some of the things that she's worked on in the past, which I appreciate and I respect. But what she is missing is that women want to pursue a man, because ultimately women stick around with the guys that they have to pursue, because psychologically, when you invest in somebody and you're more invested in getting that relationship out of them, you're going to stick around and there's going to be more desire. So again, fellas, stop falling for this masculine, feminine, he will chase you if he wants you. It's not the way that it works. And every guy that chases a woman knows that it does not work out in his benefit, and it is a relationship that barely has any sex, and he's always trying to play his way into the relationship with the woman, and she's constantly there asking for more, and she is not investing in the relationship.
A high value man will be able to support a family and will never ask you what you bring to the table, because he knows it's your energetic embodiment and your femininity that you bring to the table, and that is what is muse energy for him.
So essentially, again, nothing tangible other than feminine energy that she's bringing to the table. So here's the thing. What sets her apart from all the other women out there that also have this feminine energy within inside them? Because guess what? As a guy, we have to go out there, we have to provide, we have to win, we have to command some kind of authority, we have to have confidence, we need to get in shape, we need to make money, we need to do all these tangible things. But she's sitting here saying that women are just good enough as they are because they have feminine energy, and it is his job to get her to embody that feminine energy. So that's all she has to offer? It doesn't make any sense to me. And of course, people don't like the question of what do you bring to the table when they don't have a good answer to that question.
So a high value man, when he's dating, is looking for the right muse for who it is he is and who he wants to be, what standard he wants to hold himself to.
So I do absolutely agree with the fact that an amazing woman in a relationship whose inner feminine energy is going to bring out the best in her partner. Understand, if a woman is constantly nagging and on top of a guy, trying to get him to be better, trying to get him to step in his masculine energy, and trying to do all these things that a high value man does do, she's going to get sick of doing that. She's going to get sick of having to force him into that state. So ultimately, you have to understand that a guy who is like that, who is a high value man, he's not always going to need a woman around to push him to do that. The reason why she's attracted him in the first place is because he's already bringing that to the table. So let's talk about the list that she made here and see what I agree with. So number one, he is emotionally intelligent. Completely agree. Number two, he has a purpose. I completely agree with this, and this is something that you should be focused on and you should be accomplishing before you even meet her. Because when you're on your purpose and you're fulfilling your purpose, it's going to be more attractive to her, and she's going to want to be with you because you're already on your purpose. Number three, he takes care of himself. Completely agree. Guy who's in good shape, a guy who cares about his skin, a guy guy who goes to the gym, a guy who takes care of his mental health, and a guy who has a good community around him? Absolutely. A guy needs to take care of himself mentally, emotionally, and physically. Completely agree. Number 4, he has high self-esteem. Absolutely. If you're looking externally to boost your self-esteem or your confidence through women or through other means, it's just not going to work. You have to bring that to the table. You have to be complete if you want to get the best woman that you can. And that goes along with 5, that he generates his own self-esteem. So completely agree. He is assertive. Women want a guy who can take the lead. Women like guys who are direct. Women like guys who are confident. He knows power dynamics. This is a very interesting concept, and it's interesting that she listed this as well. But I agree. But I think the one thing that she's missing is, although masculine, feminine energy and the balance between those two things, she does understand that, I still do not think most women will admit or grasp the fact that women want a guy that they can pursue. So regardless of the power dynamic, she might think that she's in control by getting this guy to do things that she wants him to, but ultimately, she's not in a relationship with any of those guys. She's not settled down with any of those guys. So every time that a woman says, this is the way that things need to go, and then they get those guys who are beta males and who are simps who actually follow along with that, they get sick of them. It's so simple. And number 8, he's honest to his own value systems. Absolutely. Honesty, sincerity, those are 2 very high-ranking things when you're looking at the Pew Research studies of what women find attractive in men. Completely agree. Now, let's get to the video and her response video and break down why she is not settled down with any of those guys.
I would say that half of them really were marriage material. The thing is, I was not attracted to a normal guy. This is why it's so important to heal. At the time, I was not attracted to a normal, high quality, healthy guy.
Ultimately, when women have these wounds and these parental issues growing up, it's very difficult for them to be attracted to nice and good guys. That's why a lot of people always say that nice guys finish last, because ultimately a lot of people in the dating pool right now, and I can't just say women only because men are absolutely part of the problem here. A lot of women have issues with their father, an absent father. They have issues with their mother where they saw their mother have to do all the work, or they saw their mother try way too hard, or maybe their mother was absent, and they're trying to fill those broken attachment styles and those wounds that they had from childhood. So when they have a healthy, good guy who came from a good family, when he comes through, it's difficult for them to commit to it because it is so unfamiliar. So that's why dating is so difficult nowadays, because there's so many people running around right now who are not healed or trying to heal all the traumas they have from when they were younger. So ultimately, I completely agree with what she's saying here, and I respect her accountability for her admitting, listen, I found some good guys. I was going to settle down with some of these good guys, but I pushed them away because I personally was not bringing the right mentality to the table.
The reason is because your subconscious will look to replay what it thinks is comfortable, which may be some trauma loop from your childhood. Say you were abandoned. Say you always had to do something or prove yourself to get love. There are many different scenarios that create a trauma bond loop, and our subconscious will look to replay that out in our romantic relationships, our friendships, our work relationships. Until you really heal, your subconscious will not find a normal, healthy guy attractive.
This is exactly the state of the union when it comes to dating nowadays. So if you're somebody who is healed, somebody who's gone to therapy, done the work, gotten the coaching, whatever that means to you, you will find that it is lonely at the top. When you're somebody who's genuinely happy with themselves, when you're somebody who's striving for more, there are not a lot of other people that are doing that. And a lot of the people who say that they are doing that, they're really not. They watched a couple podcasts, they read a couple books, and they think that genuinely they have it all figured out. They really don't. So ultimately, I don't disagree with everything that she said. I just really want to clear up this whole anonymity that exists when people talk about feminine and masculine energy. What I don't like about the connotation of her message is that ultimately there's no emphasis or accountability on women having to bring more to the table than just their feminine energy. Every woman has feminine energy. Every guy and every girl have reproductive parts. Everybody can have sex. That's not all you can bring to the table. So the fact that you're saying that only feminine energy matters and it's a guy's job to bring that out of you, it's not enough. It's tangibly not enough, because high value men, these top guys, they have women that are already in their feminine energy that they do not need to bring that out of them. So with that said, fellas, I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope it was helpful. I want you to click in this next video right here that's going to identify red flags in women, because it's very important to not just know what you want, but ultimately know what you don't want and what you need to avoid in relationships.